Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Now, on to today's story. Fine. We'll do it your way OCL. So, not sure if this is malicious compliance or just hoping really hard for some douchebag's decisions to come back to bite him. I am an artist and graphic designer. I've worked on comics, video games, and webtoons and the like, and I'm pretty successful at it as a freelancer. I've recently left my design team and have been flying solo with some decent success. Got a fairly big project from a group making a sort of adult choose-your-own-adventure interactive comic. I've been hired to design the girls, monsters, and some items based on guidelines from a scenario book. Since it's easy enough and adult projects pay well, though they don't go into my main resume, I took it. The cost of the project broke down like this: each character was determined to be $250 for the figure. So front, back, side, are each $250. With accessories, outfits, and stuff being an additional $100 to $250 depending on difficulty. There are multipliers and caveats for character difficulties, like hair, curls, lace, things that will take more time. Request, redraws, and all that are extra after the initial sketch work has been approved and anything outside the scope of the guidelines. So if you ask me to design a freckle-faced redhead and I do that, and you decide she should be blonde or raven-haired, I'm gonna charge you for that. There were 16 characters, 12 monsters, and a whole lot of treasures, trinkets, and accessories to draw. So this was a big money project for me and about 3 weeks of solid 9-to-5 work. I got right on it. Now the scenario writer, we'll call her Jessica, was cool. Her notes were clear. She was very organized. Had a spreadsheet and PDF with hyperlinks to examples and visuals. Was everything you wanted with doing this kind of work. No mystery, no guessing. I knew exactly what she wanted. The other guy, the lead writer. Yen, this man was a headache and a half. My contract covered everything I discussed above and some more. Royalties and whatnot. But specifically spoke about changes, fixes, and alterations outside of the scope of the guidelines. Something someone apparently did not tell this idiot. The first 8 designs went well. Working with Jessica was easy. She approved everything quickly, though didn't sign off on them. I think it was because she was to present them to someone else for final approvals or something. She only wanted minor changes, and commended me for sticking close to her vision from the guidelines she created. Then she got sick and the project director told me Yen was going to be approving the designs from here on out. Yen did not like anything, and wanted me to change everything. This character is African American, why does she have that hair? Why don't you give her an afro or cornrows? Not only a bad idea, but also kind of offensive. Don't we already have a blonde? Why can't this one have purple hair, and a thicker body? Why is this one fat? She was not fat, she was like Mei from Overwatch, and personally the scenario writer's favorite design. There were notes about every little aspect of that character and I knew I got it right. In the end, all of the changes he asked for would make the girls look kind of the same, just palette swaps, with very little difference. Like they were all to his own personal aesthetic, not like a balanced roster like Jessica wanted. I tried to explain to him about the changes, the contracts, and all of that. But he was rude, condescending, and disrespectful. He even said they didn't know why we were paying me so much, there were better artists on DeviantArt. Which, I'll say yes they are. But they wouldn't work with you jack off. He demanded more changes, and more fixes, and a lot of stuff outside the scope of the project. And threatened to terminate my contract using one of the clauses, which would say that I was not working up to the ability and aesthetic displayed when I was hired. Basically my art wasn't at the same level as my portfolio and gallery. They'd only pay for half of the total work no matter what was done, and everyone would cut their losses. He brought this up almost every time I brought up how his changes were against the contract. He'd say he read the contract, but I didn't think he had, cause he was also disapproving designs that Jessica had already approved, and told me to just do what I was told or he would find someone better. When I complained to the project manager, they differed with the writer, and didn't really want to listen to me about the contract. So if they didn't care, I didn't care. I did all of his stupid designs. All of his accessories and changes, everything that he wanted. I was happy, enthusiastic. All of those great designs I did for Jessica were replaced and I got written confirmation that he was rejecting the designs and that he wanted the new ones. I did everything I was asked, cause I knew how this was going to go down. Eventually Jessica returned and was livid about the new designs. The other person above her and the writer, was also upset, as they had liked all of the original designs and, according to the contract, I was to be paid a shit ton more for all the changes and edits. But here is where my compliance became malicious. In the contract, I specifically write that I can keep any rejected designs. This is a hard point that I write in all my freelance contracts. I do not want you keeping good designs you didn't pay for, or hitting me with a, you made it while working for us type deal. I keep and own any rejected design. So, all of those ultra-specific great designs Jessica wanted were legally mine. Apparently, not only did the rest of the folks working on their team not like the same and frankly pedestrian look to all the girls I designed, he didn't care at all about the beasts, monsters, and men, but they'd seen most of the ones I sent to Jessica. But I had in writing the rejections for those designs and the acceptance for others. When they wanted them back, I charged them full price for those designs, except the one with the curvy May girl. I gave that to Jessica. They ended up having to hire me to redesign the girls according to the guideline, as my art would be used in areas of the game, promotion, and apparently the companion book, and they didn't want to use the lame designs, or switch out to another artist who could recreate my style. The fallout. They ended up paying me almost double what I was to be paid for the entire project, and despite hating to fork over the cash, ended up paying me a retainer for some more work down the line. Yen was demoted to being a scenario writer for this project and no longer allowed to talk to the artist. I know this because the new lead writer, Jessica, told me. Also apologized for Yen's behavior and stuff. Yen spent the entire time doing all this blaming me and sending me passive-aggressive texts, but I told him if he didn't like it, he could always go hire an artist from DeviantArt. Moral of the story is, if you want to tout following the contract or threaten me with our contract, you best have read that contract more carefully. You might not like my compliance. I get to keep all rejected designs. This is effing brilliant. Sounds like you're doing solid work and this clown had it coming. Good story. I would imagine a lot of artists do this now. I've read many horror stories of how an artist spends hours and hours and hours working on a piece, the commissioner decides to go a different direction and the artist either doesn't get paid at all, or much less than agreed. And then months later they see their art was used anyway. It's despicable that of all professions, artists tend to be screwed over time and time again throughout history. I literally cheered aloud at that point. Yen got his career redesigned on that little power trip. And forever will stay at the bottom, because word about his crap will spread around fast. Unfortunately, going to a different company gives bad seeds a new place to grow. Send him to the competitor, then. Wow, it's too bad he seems like a rehash of a generic egotistical male with reductionist tastes. It's sad you can't tell us what the game was because I'm really curious to see the art now. XD. Maybe time to trawl through Steam and see if anything matches. I was thinking the same, after hearing this story. I'd love to see the final product, considering the good designs appear to have been used after all. Honestly, I wish we could see some of the side-by-side of the designs, though I understand there's probably some legal stuff preventing that. Well, most of the pics are ops, so he could post them online if he wanted. Edit, yes, adult. Unless that means getting married and paying taxes, it does limit the sites somewhat. As a fellow artist, I admire you for this malicious compliance. You write a brilliant contract, thumbs up. And for true idiots, just add a force majeure clause in your contract. No wonder adult games aren't more mainstream. The devs can't even tell apart ducking and getting ducked. I see a pattern with adult games. They're usually a person's dream game, made for the maker and only that. Usually with very niche appeal. At least with indie ones. There are some gems out there, but it's tough to find. If I'm wrong, please tell me where to find them. I'm looking. I am not a huge fan of Third Crisis's art, but I do think it gives you a decent amount of control over your character's degeneracy level throughout the game. Biggest downside is long-term early access. The art style is pedestrian, but you've got to think about the price for the art. Art gets expensive quickly. Like more than you know. Plus, this may sound bad, but a fleet of Russian artists with incredible talent have been flooding the market in the last 7 years and have been raising the price on art of a certain quality. Other artists, less talented, have been having to sell low and in bulk to find space in between, creating a high market and low market. I imagine the creators here took advantage of an artist who had talent, but wasn't there yet, and were banking on the content to make up for what is a basic style. However, I imagine this to be quite the feather in the cap of the artist, who will no doubt continue to improve after this project. Don't get me wrong, I actually find the art fairly well done, it's just not my preferred style. That being said, I like the game so much that I've not only played it too much, I've gifted it to multiple people and recommended it to many more who have purchased it. I think they did a great job with keeping the style consistent, and once you're immersed it's not even a huge point of contention, or at least that's how it is for me. I also think they've been very transparent and consistent as an early access game that's still releasing updates. Even if it were to never be finished, I definitely got my money's worth for its smile. My ex did commissions for a little extra money and then ended up quitting his day job and doing commissions full time because it paid more. He was making around $70K a year and ended up making almost $10K in 1 month when he decided to do commissions full time. Yup, people have no idea how much money is out there in this particular market. I'm doing somewhere around 180K. But I have my hands in many sinister soups. I tend to do streams 5 days a week. An hour a stream image is like 150 for a colored sketch. The only issue I ever have is being asked to draw similar stuff all the time, or getting niched into a genre. I flat out refuse to draw that stupid Jacko pose that everyone was doing around here this past month. If you look at my PFP you will understand what kind of art my ex did. Hinted starts with an F. I've worked with the fandom myself. Peculiar folk from time to time, but still good people. Though I have rules on what I will and will not do. Which is a mile long. Oh god, I can imagine with some of the stuff people request, and I bet you are still adding to it every once in a while. You are not wrong. Also, way more women working on those projects than you would expect. I also prefer working with them. They tend to be more judicious in their decisions and are often easier to collaborate with. But this is just my experience on these types of projects. There are actually some on Steam these days. My 27M wife, 30F, won't do something she wants because she's self-conscious. How do I help? Me, 27M, and my wife, 30F, are working through a few issues that are well documented here. But she has had body image issues her entire life, some much worse than I had thought. I'm an artist that goes to conventions back when they were a thing, and now that one that I used to frequent is up, I floated an idea again that I had in the past. To have my wife dress up as the character modeled after her in the comic. Before she was hesitant because she was a bigger gal, which, being honest, is fine. Take my word for it, I'm not rose-colored glasses here. She was overweight, but in that way that you really don't care. Everything that should be alluring is alluring. Pretty face, red hair, freckles, green eyes, thick butt, nice breasts and cute smile with very cute lips. Though she always felt like I settled or she was just there or whatever, I've always been incredibly attracted to my wife and was always bummed out she never wanted to do this. Recently we've both been losing weight. Me somewhere around 84 pounds, her somewhere around 60 something. She's looking fine. I'm looking better, I've got a lot more definition in places, still got my gut, but I might. I've just never been a handsome guy, so I'm not gonna brag too much about myself. But wifey looked hot. Wifey has always been threatened by girls she perceives are more attractive than her. Which oddly enough turns out to be thinner or fitter looking women. Which is hilarious because some of the women she thinks are more attractive than her are usually just thinner, not even better equipped, or prettier. It's always been maddening to get her to understand that skinny doesn't equal attractive, and yeah, if she had like elbow cleavage and was huge that would be a problem, but whatever. Recently, since this convention has come back for next year, barring complications, an idea like it was floated again by my cousin Paris, 22F. Who wanted to go and cosplayed as one of my characters. She began talking about having her and her twin sister, London, both of whom are admittedly conventionally hot, be there. Neither of them are endowed, but they curve in the right places, and are pretty as hell. Imagine short blondish, well, Paris hair is blue right now, but normally blondish girls with blue eyes, though I think London's are brown, surprised I can't remember, but a cross between Phoebe Cates and Billie Eilish. They both do have that constantly apathetic expression on their faces. This is interesting because I didn't get along with them growing up. There's a whole history, but irrelevant right now. Just to say Paris has been a big fan of mine recently for some reason. But this sparked the conversation again, and even my wife's friend Mimi, 30F, said she'd like to do it. My wife on the other hand was really annoyed and said she didn't want to do it. Though I basically begged her to reconsider. I've always thought she was hot, I thought she'd have looked fine before. I told her that seeing her in that outfit would click every button I have, she's always attractive to me, but she was pretty firm, so I dropped it. Later I come to find out that she actually really wants to do it, especially since she's lost so much weight and is closer to the size and look of her character in the comic. I find this out the way I find out most things about her. Mimi finally got frustrated and told me. The issue is, she originally said no, and made a big deal of it. She is scared she will look worse in her outfit than the twins, Impossible, or Mimi, Unlikely, and also doesn't seem to want to do it now that she's thinner, because she had always told me her size wasn't the reason she didn't want to do it, and now doesn't want to be called out about it. Which I don't really care about, it's not like I didn't know already. She also doesn't want to talk to me about it. Also, since I didn't add this last time and it's apparently important. She thinks I'm only saying encouraging things, or my opinion is typical because I married her. So apparently my vote of confidence is invalid of bias. That's a whole WTF from me. Like, isn't my opinion on the matter supposed to be the most important? Like, why would you care more what anyone else thinks about your level of attractiveness than your husband? Who else needs to be overly attracted to you? Who then are you attracting? I've got a version of this our entire relationship. I've always been encouraging, supportive, and patient. But she's often given me a version of my opinion doesn't hold weight cause I have to justify being with her by being positive about how she looks. My limited man logic counter is, if I wasn't 100% on board with how you looked I wouldn't have married you. And I've given you very little indication in our marriage that you don't do it for me. How the hell do I approach this hot mess? I've never understood why women can never say what they want or what they mean, and how they're perfectly happy to be miserable or miss out on something they want or want to do, for in my opinion no reason. People change their minds for a ton of reasons. You don't even have to admit that you were self-conscious before. You could just say, hey, I want to do that, sounds like fun. And yes, it would make me happier than a lark to see you in this outfit we designed together. And you love it, you want to have it made and wear it, so why don't you? What do I do here? When I try to bring it up, she gets super defensive. But to be honest, I've seen the texts. She really wants to do it and is upset with herself that she can't be honest about it. But I can't just go. Mimi told me, cause like, yeah, trust issues and all that. Just. And ladies, please, I would love your insight here. How do I get one of you to do something you want to do that you claim you don't want to do, but you obviously do? You are very confusing. Not all, just, apparently many that I am around or related to. TLDR. Wife says she doesn't want to do anything. There are many reasons why she's saying it, but secretly is upset she isn't doing the thing and wants really badly to do the thing and has told her friend she wishes she could be honest about doing the thing, but keeps telling me she doesn't want to do the thing. Would dressing up around the house be better than dressing up at the convention? If she's already insecure, she will likely be comparing herself to literally everyone at the convention. Maybe that would be some middle ground and she can enjoy it in the privacy of her own home, and then after she sees how she looks in the outfit, maybe she will feel either more comfortable or less comfortable going to the convention with it. I have suggested that. And she does that with other stuff. But this would be an expensive creation, so she doesn't want something made like that for just the house. I've said I would be fine with that. I don't care what anyone else gets to see, but she was against it. This reads so odd to me. I guess that you have always thought she was smoking and now more so. I also get that you are supportive and complimentary. Her #1 fan, right? But then you spend the next 8 paragraphs describing in detail what your cousins and her friend look like, and why your wife shouldn't feel compared to them because she is more beautiful. Okay? I don't think it's helping. You're still comparing. How is dissecting the hair and eye color of your circle plus famous people, a cross between Phoebe Cates and Billie Eilish, helping to further any conversation about your wife with your wife? Yes, you are comparing her positively, but does she need to hear why her eye color is better than other people's? That's not really how self-esteem works. I've never understood why women can never say what they want or what they mean. Yep, women are puzzles. And apparently, you're kind of a bonehead. You posted this yesterday. What advice didn't you get then that you're hoping for now? It was taken down for not having ages and genders and stuff. So I just tried to put it back up. And I did want to reply and have a dialogue about some of the stuff said. Then, mostly, it's simply having the mods take it down for violating rules. You try to put the post back up. Though I do still have some questions. Is this really what you want to talk about? Ah, okay. There are a lot of serial reporters on this sub. Their, usually bad, post gets removed and they post it 3 or 4 more times, often because they don't see the answer they were hoping for and they're desperate to hear that they're actually right. I didn't know why yours was deleted, but it seems to be all good, thumbs up. I thought people might think that, so I had written that I had to edit it at the mod's request. But they took that one down too and said I couldn't have that explanation in there.